Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today's video is going to be talking about how Warlock felt in last week's 12.1 PTR Venomous Abyss raid testing. The good, the bad, the ugly, what specs felt good, what didn't, maybe some feedback points along the way, just like passively and stuff, and talk about how the raid felt. I'll make another video after Mythic talking about this stuff and how the raid feels in general, but I wanted to hit on this early because got a couple weeks, maybe potential changes coming in. So today's video is going to be on that. Also, briefly, before the video starts, or that section of the video starts, I want to talk about something big that's changing, which is actually the Patreon and the 12.1 PTR Warlock spreadsheet and all of that. Now, for those that don't know, I've had a Patreon for years now, right? With various perks and things on it, like thank yous at the end of the video. One of the big perks we did was actually for the tier 3 Felgar rank or higher is early access, like the upcoming PTR or beta or expansion spreadsheet that I made for Warlocks, which is more like a PvE spreadsheet, honestly, at this point. We're doing that for this patch, but I want to clarify, we're also expanding the Patreon to other things, more perks for you guys, everything else coming in the next week or so. We'll talk about it on stream, talk about it here as well, next coming few days and all that. So if you haven't checked it out, I would really, if y'all want to, links down below, I greatly appreciate y'all support. If you're looking at supporting through various ways, Patreon's a great way to do it. Also, there's perks again, give back to you guys, and I greatly appreciate all y'all support. It allows me to keep doing what I'm doing, making videos for you guys, and yeah, I greatly appreciate all of y'all. I also do want to highlight the spreadsheet here, because I realized when I was updating it, I'm making a lot of changes to it this time around, trying to add more information. It's always been like rating, gearing, like BIS gearing, right? You know, talent builds, a couple other things here and there. We're expanding it to Mythic Plus this time around as well, in addition to rating. And I want to show you all the spreadsheet briefly here. Now, to clarify, the spreadsheet obviously changes a good bit. This is an early version of it and stuff here too. There's more information on the sheets on the Patreon now than there is here. But there's multiple tabs, for example. So for S2 raids, the bosses are listed here. There's like fight types and notes for various fights already listed. We haven't done Mythic testing as of yet. I drew this picture myself. It's very nice. Look at that. The boss pathing for the raid. But over the course of the PTR, this will be updated and changed based on what specs are recommended for the fight. Tuning that comes in. There'll be notes here, tips, tricks like circles, utility, this, that, whatever. For this, the M Plus tab, we're expanding the sheet to this time around as well. We're going to have all the dungeons here. For example, Twin Fangs. Already testable. Look at that. There's already a video up on it. We're going to have videos every run, notes, gate skips, other utility like Imp Dispel. Is it relevant here? Can you use it? Fell Hunter Purge, yes, no, kicks, where at, what mobs to do it to. We're going to expand a lot more to M Plus in the sheet, in addition to rating. If I can get a chance to make videos on like gate skips and things before the patch comes out as well, we're adding a lot more to this. There'll even be more here in general once we get things flowing. In addition to that, we have the tab for talents here. These talents from, these are my old builds. They're not current. You don't need to copy them all down. It's fine. But if you do go on and get the sheet, there'll be PTR builds here for you guys to grab if you want. Nice little horse, very nice over there. Destro, Demon, Aff gearing. These tabs are all the same right now. Sims aren't obviously anywhere near being done for lock stuff and all that, right? People that are smarter than me work on it and stuff too. This is like a gear list that I populated more or less. It's the same for all these specs. It won't be obviously when things go live. It'll change a bunch. When there's eye level knowledge for the plus stuff, we'll know more of that too. I'll have it in here. Rare items, talking about what to do with loot and stuff, all that. There'll be a lot more in every single tab on this sheet. There's a cool little homepage that I made here as well with like the patch stuff, socials, and like you want to click these links, you can hop around here too. But also there's cool little tabs that are color coordinated and stuff. And I'll have links here as well to like my personal logs. I'll have Larry's sheet here when they make that awesome sheet for like patch prep and everything. And I want to say thank y'all, right, for all the support on Patreon, whether you supported in the past or not, or considering now. I greatly appreciate it. I don't talk about it a whole lot, probably nowhere near as much as I should, honestly, for YouTube, but thank y'all legit for all the support. I want to make the sheet better this time around, expand the sheet more to more things like Mythic Plus, more utility based stuff, and all that, in addition to other perks coming on Patreon as well in the next few weeks, for like the $5 rank, as well as like I think maybe the 25 rank. We'll see you expand that more. But I also want to clarify, this sheet goes public for free 100% before the patch goes live, typically like the week before or so. If you want early access to it, once again, the tier 3 Belguard rank or higher on Patreon gets it, but it's always free before the patch goes live. It's more like you get it like in the early updated / work in progress state. If things change, you get to see it ahead of time, you know. But we've done it for a while. If you guys are interested in checking it out or supporting on Patreon in general, it allows me to keep doing what I'm doing for you guys, making videos and stuff, and I greatly appreciate all your support. Now, all that being said, let's get into the video. Thank you. All right, Nek'Zali, the Soul Coiler, not Caller, Coiler like a snake, is the first boss up in testing we're going to talk about today. And this fight, we're playing Affliction on. It feels like this could be a good Affliction fight, but it's not necessarily because Affliction is super strong. It sort of depends. So the boss is like, there's a bit of single target burn on the boss when the fight begins. This is the first boss in the raid, and this is probably the hardest first boss you've seen in a very long time, but it's a cool boss. I like it a lot. It's not Terror Grew. So the boss is going to have a bit of single target damage at the start here, and it's going to spawn ads on various sides of the room, which walk towards the well in the middle. If they reach the well, they do damage to the raid, I believe, and they give the boss a stack, basically. Or they give the boss energy. I think it's 5 energy per ad that hits the well. If it hits max energy, he enrages and kills the raid. So this is a lot of like ad CC kind of control, where groups with like blood DKs, mass grip, DKs in general for grip, will be able to pull all the ads together in one spot and mass AoE them down. At the same time, the boss is still present here, and if you're able to drag the boss on top of the ads and cleave them all down together, looking at how good Af's tier set is, with UA being applied by Seed the boss, apply multiple UAs to it, and just blast the ads down with Seed and so. Now, if you look here, ads do spawn on both sides of the room, so specs like Destruction and Demonology have trouble with either pets running across the room, like Demonology to do damage to these ads, or Destruction is sort of lacking with like this snap, let's swap targets to the other half of the room and kill these ads kind of here. You have Cataclysm on half-minute cooldown, doesn't do anything, right? Af can dot him up, permanent AC, just spam Seed a million times and funnel the boss. Unless like Af changed a good bit, I feel like they're really the only good spec for this fight for Warlock. Destruction just seems exceptionally mid. In general, this tier, spoilers ahead. In Demonology, there's a lot of running around with pets this fight. Unless you need like a lot of just cryo burn damage or just single target, you can meat grinder the boss into the ads. If it's like a lot of stat cleave and the boss just dragged around constantly, Demo could work here. But I think Af's profile fits this boss really well. That's sort of like spoilers ahead for certain parts of the raid, but that's that. Nek'Zali, the Soul Coiler, sorry, looks to be, I would say, at least a decently strong Affliction fight with potential Demonology, but Destruction, no shot. The Entombed Sentinels is the second boss in the raid, and how I said Destro no shot in the last boss, I think this is a Destruction fight. This is a prime Destruction fight. There are 2 targets, they're always active, they both stop taking damage basically in the intermission, but you just pull resources, do the little mini game, and just come back and kill the boss. There's these large ads that spawn in, like you can see right there, the Venom Coagulum. I can't read it in Premiere. The name is small, but trust me, I think it's Venom Coagulum. You kill it, but you can have it cleave that too if you want. Have it the opposing boss. It's very similar to Amalgamation Chamber, where they both apply debuffs if you're standing in the direct middle of them, but there's more leeway on this boss. Like right here where I am, I'm only going to get stacks from the green side. I'm on the green side. The bosses will rotate sides each time, each intermission, and that's that. As long as you hang in this general vicinity, not in like the direct center, you're fine. You'll get stacks from one side and you're good to go. The goal here is to make 4 green orbs. I have 2 green, 2 red. I need to find somebody else that has 2. It is Mr. Nutfast across the room right there. We're going to meet up in a minute here to make 4. Math is hard, but once you get all 4, you should be good to go. This is a prime Destro fight. Unless like Demonology is overtuned by a crazy amount, like it was in BFA, you're not going to play it here. You're cleaving 2 targets permanently. Just, this is Destro cleave. At the same time, Affliction has in the past been solid in these fights, but Affliction's in a weird spot where it's not really that good at these council fights. Like, and it really isn't really a council fight, but it's not really good at these 2 target fights. It's more just played on fights where you can get Seed cleave and then like abuse like funnel damage with the tier set. Af's in a very odd spot, and you'd expect Af to be like decent here, but this is Destro through and through. It's probably one of the few Destro fights in the raid. There's a lot of like stat cleave or like AoE-esque cleave in this raid. If you're a Destro fan, this is probably your 1 or 2 chances to play it on, what is this fight called again? Oh, the Entombed Sentinels. Now, if you choose to go to Entombed Sentinels second, the next boss you're going to encounter is Vashnik. This boss is basically Soul Rain the Dormazane, or it felt, that's the boss, right? I think. No, not Dormazane. That's a different boss. Soulbinder and his injury. The free boss from Manaforge Omega. This is how it felt in testing. However, on Heroic, this boss is bugged and not doing its Heroic mechanic where it basically throws soaks on the ground when he pulses in the middle of the room with his green AoE. TLDR is sort of like a build-a boss. You can choose which altars to keep him in between, which he'll empower 2 of the 3 in the room, and it sort of chooses what mechanic you want to deal with. It's a cool boss. When the heroic mechanic's working, and on Mythic, the other mechanic too, it'll probably be a pretty cool fight. This fight felt honestly like a pretty solid AF fight. Like, AF is a little strong currently, but with the boss being able to be just stacked on the ads here, whether it's the fire ads that are ripped in here from the left side with the DKs, purple ads that spawn on the purple altar, or even the third altar on the screen you don't see at the top, there's a blood ad that spawns. And then when he dies, he spawns little ads. Tanking the boss on top of the ads here, giving you big seed cleave, applying UAs from your tier set. And when he runs around like this, I would assume that seed is not your what you want to spam in single target long term. Regardless, you still can just play AF single target-esque, throw some UAs here when the boss is stacked, seed him again, AoE him down. I could see Demonology being pretty good here as well. Meat grinder, boss is stacked, implosion cleave, dog cleave, just all that meat grinder it has, apex cleave. Destruction on this fight, unfortunately, not really a thing, unless you're like playing Diabolist Destron's overtuned, you're just putting meteors on things. But having the Diabolist hero talent like available to you, have meteors queued for things, ruinations, Fel Lord cleave, whatever, could be pretty strong here. I'm probably going to give the nod to Demonology, just Diabolist Demo in this fight, a bit over Affliction, but both have a real chance here. And depending where numbers, fall with tuning, I could see it being an AF or Demo fight. It's pretty crazy. We've looked at 3 fights here, and 2 of them have been potentially AF, which is pretty cool to see. But Mr. Vashnik, I'd say AF or Demonology. Destruction doesn't have the damage profile for it. There's not enough ag cleave consistently, and you're just going to be in an odd spot playing Destron in this fight compared to AF or Demonology. All right, the Lost Explorers is an option after Nek'Zali, which is the first boss in the raid. It sort of forks off, which you can see actually in the spreadsheet we talked about on Patreon in that section of the video a few minutes ago. It sort of forks off into either Entombed Sentinels and Vashnik, which we just saw, or into Lost Explorers and Sszorak. But Lost Explorers is a 3-target fight. However, you cannot keep all 3 stacked. If they're all stacked, they get this aura that DRs damage taken by 99%. So you're going to have basically 2 targets stacked most of the time, with one being a little off-center at times and not always able to get like 2 target cleave consistently. I played all 3 specs in this fight. Honestly, it's sort of a toss-up. Right, Mayhem, when they're stacked here in even in a general range, it does work on these 2. Mayhem is super annoying if you're playing it, and it just keeps proccing on your main target, having to change targets over and over and over. Affliction didn't feel bad, just spamming seed and 2 targets with felt pretty good here, honestly. And when it came to Demonology, 2 of the 3 targets are stacked, and Demo can just get a lot of stack cleave too. So all 3 specs have value here. It's second boss of the raid, or second or third easiest, depending how you look at it. It shouldn't be that bad. It really just depends on tuning and where it all lands. It feels like this should be a Hellcaller Destro fight, mostly, but Hellcaller Destro and Destro in general needs serious help at this point. I don't know. Affliction could be a thing here. You can still prio one of the bosses down. They do not share health, as you can see here, and keep spamming seed for 2 target cleave. Even Demonology, if it ends up being super strong here, you can just play Diabolist Demo and launch a bunch of Ruinations and Feldor cleaves and things on top of the stat cleave, right? So it really depends on tuning. I'd probably give the nod initially to Affliction or Destruction, but this is going to be more of a, hey, what got buffed and nerfed the week heading into the raid? Cool, you play that here. Shouldn't be that bad. You probably 2 or 3 shot unless the boss is overtuned, but for a council-based boss in Heroic, I definitely enjoyed it more than Light-Blinded Vanguard, and way more than the Soul Hunter's boss. Okay, Sszorak? I don't know how to say his boss's name. Big S. I shouldn't call that either. I don't really know. Sszorak. So this is going to be the boss after Lost Explorers. This is the only patchwork boss of the tier. There's no cleave in this fight. It is do damage to the boss. It is 1 target and kill him before he kills you. Now, this boss does have either a 25 or 35% damage amp in the intermission, but the intermission brings a lot of winds that blow you around, which makes it sort of hard to do damage here. Destruction, I mean, it'll very likely be what is the best single target spec. Cool, you play it on this fight. Whether it's Demonology, Destruction, or God forbid it's Affliction. Or sorry, God forbid it's Destruction. At this current point, it's more Demonology and Affliction, but we'll see what happens. Now, there is a bit to think about as well when it comes to the intermission, where when the boss begins knocking people around with the winds, which you negate by popping these green things off to the left there, for example. You'll see in a minute here. that there's like a 25-second damage amp on the boss, which if you're playing Demonology, for example, Apex ramping there might be a little tough, but it does line up well with Apex ramp. Affliction ramp with Dark Lair, some UAs being cast might not actually be that bad, but it probably wouldn't be a Malefic Grasp angle, maybe, depending where it's tuned compared to Drains or other modifiers. Destruction, man, planting and casting Chaos Bolts is going to feel diabolically, pun not intended, terrible in this fight. So hopefully, I'm leaning towards AF or Demo on this fight, but it will very likely be just whatever ends up being best in single target. In the end, there's going to be a lot of optimizations to be found on this boss when it comes to like the single target damage amp. Also, a lot of it's just based on dropping the actual like pops, which you'll see happening in a minute here, in the right spots. The boss is going to begin casting Dig In, which is the damage amp here. You basically want to get knocked in a way, not like that, boom. You want to get knocked in a way where it keeps you on the platform, getting knocked towards the other, basically next pop. It does negate the wins when you get popped here. See, we get popped, and I'm back to like running at normal speed, mostly more or less here. You can keep doing damage, get in position here, and then you push back, bang, pop again. There you go. So it does slow the wins, allows you to do more damage here. I was just worried about not flying off the edge, but yeah, point being, that's that. Cool fight. I lean AF and Demo right now, but just depends on tuning. The Twin Fangs is going to be boss number 6. So we talked about the boss pathing being basically Nek'Zali for boss 2. Then either you go Entombed Sentinels into Vashnik or Lost Explorers into Sszorak. Theoretically, you could play Entombed Sentinels into Explorers, then fix the other 2 harder bosses or approach them. But either way, this boss is only reachable, from what we understand, after killing Vashnik and Sszorak, which means you'll be killing 5 bosses in the raid. This boss 6 will unlock. Now, the cool thing about the Twin Fangs is that these bosses have a very large hitbox. You can cast Seed of Corruption with Sow the Seeds in this fight and cleave both bosses with Sow as Affliction. Now, Demonology, get a bit of cleave here too with Implosion and things. Zyra was playing it here as well. I played Destruction on this fight. Affliction feels way better. These ads spawn in the back of the room feels like every half minute or minute or so. You can see those down quick, kill them. There's some larger ads that spawn off to the side sometimes you need to kill. Being able to just cast Seed with Sow on these bosses just feels good. You cast 2 seeds, they both pop on each other. It's crazy. It just works well, right? Destruction feels like it should be good here. Mayhem does work based on where the bosses are at. It does proc on them. It does feel sort of bad if Mayhem procs on like a random back ad sometimes and stuff too. It might be like a Havoc improve Havoc fight over Mayhem if Destroyers play here, due to how annoying Mayhem is and how the randomly can jump around at times. But either way, Affliction was way better than Destruction here. Now, I will say Affliction's a little buggy with double CDR and Soul Harvest or Dark Harvest, but regardless, you've got a choice of 3 different specs here. If Destroyer gets buffed, or maybe you play Diabolus here for cleave, Demonology cleave is pretty solid here. The ads are pretty close together, where the bosses are, and or Affliction, seed spam. They're going to fix the AF bugs, but I don't think they'll increase the radius and where the bosses are standing. So Seed with Sow should cleave on the bosses and on these ads in the back of the room every time as well. So I'm leaning Affliction here personally, but it's hard to say how strong it'll be post bug fix. All 3 specs are valuable here. It'll likely end up being an AF or Destro fight. I would lean AF at this point with Seed being a thing. Once again, a lot of these fights this tier, like AF is good just because the bosses are stacked enough and you can just spam Seed with Sow onto them. It's not because like UA is good or AF is cranking. It's just like, yeah, the bosses are stacked. You can meat grind everything down. But it's a fun fight. I lean AF or Destro here for better damage profiles. Currently, I play AF, but fun fight regardless. And we'll see where it goes. The Coiled Altar is the penultimate boss of this raid tier, and this fight looks insane. So if you haven't watched the raid testing of it, the full pull won't be here. It's on the channel if you want to go dig it up. All these videos are, for what it's worth, but I would definitely watch like stage 3. This fight on Heroic is, I believe on Mythic as well, is basically patchwork in phase 1. And then phase 2, it's patchwork with like a ad spawning off to the side you need to like cleave and kill and kick down, which means for the most part you're probably leaning towards playing what is your best single target spec that can also cleave in phase 2, and then phase 3 both targets are active, Zul'Jin and Hexlord Malakras, and that plays a bit into it as well. Now, depending where Destruction lands, if it ends up being good in single target, it has a very good profile in phase 2 with there being a main target and a prio cleave ad. And then phase 3 with both targets being active, both bosses, Destro can melt this fight. However, Destro's is in shambles. Who knows what's going to happen there? But regardless, all three specs have some value or some merit here, and it will likely be more of a tuning thing. Demonology can still swap targets to the ad all the same. If you bring more damage in phase 1 and more damage in phase 3 with stat cleave, great, there you go. Affliction in this fight, you really can't get seed cleave in this phase, and while Affliction is like solid in single target, Demonology is a bit better currently in single target, and it really just depends what your guild needs. I would lean towards, I play Demonology here. Demon felt the best overall. I would lean towards Demonology or Destruction's damage profile. Once again, most of the fights this tier where AF is good, you're just casting Seed of Corruption. It's not, it's fine and it's fun, but it's not really like what you'd expect, why you'd expect AF to be as good. It's like, yeah, it's a meat grinder, there's multiple ads. You can get value out of the tier set, funneling an ad down or a boss down. Not much value out of AF's tier set here. Once the bugs are fixed, you're just casting, you're hitting a single target boss. So I lean Destruction or Demonology here. The fight's really cool and will likely vary based on damage profiles. It does look like there's a good bit of potential to play all three specs this raid tier. But I think the question always is, where's tuning land? I think more so this tier, with there being a lot of similar but also different damage profiles. It really just depends on what ends up being tuned the highest this tier. I'm hoping for an AF tier. AF and Demo tier would be great. I don't want another Destro tier. It's not now, but that's the scary part. The spec's not good early on. It's probably gonna get buffed, so we'll see. But at the same time, I don't mind it as much. For my Destro fans, don't worry, I don't mind it, but I'm at least leaning towards wanting an AF tier. So thanks for watching, guys. Wraps it up. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video, and hopefully it gave you all a better look or understanding of how Warlock looked, at least last week in raid testing. There could be a PTR build tomorrow or probably like Wednesday this week. I'm holding my breath. Is that the right terminology for Warlock changes? I'm gonna be honest, if they're not this week, they're probably not happening. It's week 3. I doubt they do big changes the week of the last bit of raid testing. This week's sort of slow. There's no raid testing, so I mean, we can maybe get some this week, get some feedback, some changes next week for raid testing, go from there. But if we don't get any, hey, there's always 12-2. I've done what I can. My hands are clean in this. I've done all that I can. So we'll see where it goes. But thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and sub below. Helps out a ton. Thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. Again, if you watched the Patreon plug earlier, thank you for watching it. If you didn't, go back and watch it. It's important. More things changing with that. But I appreciate your support. Seriously, thank you for everything on there, guys. And all the support here on Twitch, everything as well. Seriously, you guys are insane, man, and I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you all. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, link up here once again, as well as down below. And yeah, that's it. I guess we'll see where it goes. I feel like there'll be tuning to Warlock regardless, whether there's like actual changes or not. But I would assume there's probably not much tuning coming until after Mythic. There could be some next week, probably after Mythic raid testing. We have a better feel for where things are at and stuff. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, that's that. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all again soon on stream. Peace.